While President Trump continues to challenge the results of the election, does projected President-elect Biden possess a mandate? Sinclair National Correspondent James Rosen dives into that question.
What is our mandate?
In posing the question, President-elect Biden assumed he has a mandate. Generally, the winners of landslides enter office with greater power to enact policy than the winners of close contests. Then again, Mr. Biden, by current tallies, attracted 74 million votes, more than any nominee in history.
Americans have called upon us to marshal the forces of decency, the forces of hope, in the great battles of our time. The battle to control the virus, the battle to build prosperity, the battle to secure your family's health care, the battle to achieve racial justice.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, the likely majority leader if Democrats win a pair of Senate runoff elections in Georgia, suggested a mandate is contingent on control of Congress, and that if one exists, it belongs to a party, not just a president.
Now we take Georgia, and then we change America.
That I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States.
Some historians say talk of mandates grew more prominent in the rhetoric of presidents-elect as mass media became more powerful in the political landscape. Such talk satisfied the media's growing appetite for content. But analysts also caution voters to discern when the media declare a mandate that may be different from, or even at odds with, the meaning of an election as understood by the voters or the victorious politician. Julia Azari is the Director of Graduate Studies in Political Science at Marquette University and author of Delivering the People's Message, The Changing Politics of the Presidential Mandate.
There's a reason we search for meaning, and that has a kind of democratic value for us to talk about what an election means and what the popular will might be. And on the other hand, a lot of really powerful people have every incentive to try and shape that for their own reasons.
Azari suggested that if the Republicans retain control of the Senate and the Biden White House is stymied in pursuing legislation, the administration will invoke a mandate to justify sweeping executive action.
James, mandate. I'm getting hung up on this. I know what it means. I know it's the desire to feel like you've been given the power to do what you want to do. But given the fact that we had heard that there was going to be a blue wave, if there were a blue wave, all the power to President-elect Biden, it's a mandate. They lost seats in the House. They're not going to win the Senate. How is that possibly a mandate?
Well, the results of those Senate runoff races remain for us to see what they are. And a mandate is what you can make of it. A mandate is what you can proclaim and get away with enacting. Nonetheless, I think you raise a valuable point, which is that in both houses of Congress, we're going to see very slender majorities, and it's going to be difficult for Mr. Biden to pursue a legislative agenda. But just getting what you want out of Congress isn't the only way you can manifest a mandate. And as we noted at the end of our story just now, that could come through executive action.
You know, one of the other things that would kind of, at least for me, push back on President-elect Biden, think he's been mandated to go change a bunch of things that he's talking about changing, is the fact that the progressive wing of the Democrat Party is pretty upset right now. They feel that they've been blamed for some of the losses in the House and whatnot, and they're concerned, AOC example, Bernie Sanders another one, they're concerned that they may not be part of the next agenda of President-elect Biden, or President Biden when he's president.
That's right, and I think that this is a fairly common tug of wills that we see within either party whenever their nominee captures the White House, is what is the soul of this party? What were we sent here to do? It's not just about who's president, it's about who he has around him. So the progressive wing of the Democrats are demanding representation in staffing and also in the legislative agenda. But again, the question is, what were they sent there to do? And what is the appetite of the American people and their representatives in Congress?
You know, I guess the question is if Biden does feel like he has been given a mandate, what are some of the things he wants to unravel from the Trump administration right off the bat?
One thing I think that the next President-elect Biden, has to be aware of is appearing as though his sole agenda, or his mandate, if you will, is to resurrect the Obama presidency. Because right now, almost everything he's talking about doing and some of the specific personnel he's talking about nominating carry that image or project that image. So, for example, on the foreign affairs stage, he wants to re-enroll the United States in the Iran nuclear deal. He wants to re-enroll the United States in the Paris Climate Accord. On the domestic front, he wants to resurrect Obamacare. So I think Joe Biden has to be wary of appearing to present the image that all he really wants to do is turn back the clock. His slogan was "Build Back Better." He's got to make sure that he is seen adapting to the modern age and not the problems of 10 years ago.
I'll tell you what, there's one guy around town that thinks that mandate is a little bit premature, calling that mandate. That'd be Donald Trump at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, the current president. Thank you so much for your time, James Rosen.
Thank you, Eric.